Hi guys, it's Christy, and today I am so excited about this topic. It's all about building romantic tension, specifically using Pride and Prejudice as a great example. So I really hope that this video will inspire you if you're writing a romance or if you have a romance in your novel. Hopefully it'll inspire you with some different strategies that you can incorporate to really get people invested in your couple and get them invested in their love story. So I'm going to be focusing on the 2005 film adaptation starring Keira Knightley and Matthew Macfadyen. I've read the book and this film seemed fairly true to the original story. I'm going to focus specifically on the elements in the story that built the romantic tension between Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy that make the audience engaged in the story and eager for a resolution. So the first thing about this story that just makes it so compelling is that they each come from different backgrounds, different points of view, but they share a similarity. Elizabeth Bennet is a social and talkative person. She's imaginative, she loves to read, but she and her family do not have a lot of boundaries or social propriety. Mr. Darcy is antisocial, reserved, and quiet. He is proper and has impeccable etiquette, even if his manners do not extend to the feelings of others. Their similarity is found in their insecurities. They both feel like outsiders. Elizabeth comes from a poor family and she is unmarried despite her age. They are on the brink of losing everything if she doesn't marry well. Darcy is of good breeding, but he doesn't feel like he fits in or that people understand him, and he does not easily make friends. Elizabeth and Darcy meet at a ball where Darcy insults her by refusing to dance with her, indicating she is of lower status than he is, and offhandedly comments on her looks as being plain. Elizabeth is further withdrawn from him when she learns from her new friend Mr. Wickham that Darcy casually ruined his life and career. Elizabeth is convinced that this is the life of the rich and social elite and she wants no part in it. Number 2, circumstances bring them together. Elizabeth checks on her sister Jane, who is visiting Mr. Bingley and falls ill. Mr. Darcy is staying with Mr. Bingley and his sister, so Elizabeth encounters him for the first time since the ball. She's composed yet cold since he insulted her. When Mr. Bingley holds a private ball, Elizabeth is perplexed when Darcy asks her to dance. He is seemingly trying to make amends for his coldness to her at their initial encounter, but she is not willing to forgive him after what Wickham has revealed to her. They are brought together again when Elizabeth goes to stay with her cousin, Mr. Collins, whose patroness, Lady Catherine, is Mr. Darcy's aunt. It's this association that brings them together again so that they get to know each other a bit better. Darcy reveals to Elizabeth that he is uncomfortable meeting people, as if to indirectly apologize again for his behavior. Clearly, he is trying to get into Elizabeth's good graces. Darcy stumbles over himself a bit as he is growing an attraction for Elizabeth. She softens to him too, and even pokes fun at him to his friends. There is yet another chance meeting later on in the story when Elizabeth, who is with her aunt and uncle, shows up at Darcy's estate, and he happens to be there. Without these chance encounters, the characters wouldn't have the opportunity to get to know each other, and the audience would not have the foundation it needs to root for them. Number 3, the betrayal. Elizabeth finds out Mr. Darcy was instrumental in breaking up Jane and Mr. Bingley, breaking Jane's heart. Ironically, this is the same moment when Darcy professes his love for her and proposes. Elizabeth is confused, as is the audience. We are torn because we want to see the best in Darcy. His devotion to her and change of attitude has made him much more appealing, but the news of his betrayal to Elizabeth and her family makes her unable to accept him. Darcy makes the proposal all the more of a train wreck as he sticks his foot in his mouth, insulting her family and even admitting that his affections for her are against his better judgments. It is clear that Darcy still has some redeeming to do, but the audience is not ready to give up on him yet. Not after he has let down his walls, saying, "In vain I have struggled. It will not do. My feelings will not be repressed. You must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you." Darcy, who is no master of words or flattery, is open and vulnerable with his feelings. He is speaking from the heart, and it makes the audience want to see him redeemed. Number 4, the discovery. Darcy sends Elizabeth a letter apologizing for his part in Jane and Bingley's breakup, saying that he was just looking out for his friend, afraid Jane didn't return his affection. He also clarifies his relationship with Wickham. He says that Wickham is a liar and broke the heart of Darcy's sister. Number 5, all is lost. After Elizabeth learns the truth about Wickham, he runs off with one of Elizabeth's sisters and history repeats itself. Elizabeth's family is shamed and all is ruined. It is the worst thing that could happen to Elizabeth and her family. Number 6, selfless act and change of perspective. Privately, Darcy makes a deal with Wickham to marry Elizabeth's sister, restoring her good name in exchange for money and career. He also sets things right with Mr. Bingley and Jane, assisting in reuniting them. Elizabeth learns of what Darcy did and regrets her harsh refusal of him. This is the highest moment of tension, when the audience knows that they both care for each other and we are waiting on the edge of our seats for the reconciliation. One of the things I love about Darcy's transformation is that while we know Elizabeth for her strengths, we don't really see Darcy for who he truly is until this moment. We know that he has been falling in love with Elizabeth, which makes him endearing to us, but from Elizabeth's perspective, she can only see that there may be perhaps more to him than the surface level. She needs this act of selflessness, along with his letter of confession, to demonstrate his devotion and his true nature. Number 7, one final conflict. Darcy's aunt, Lady Catherine, forbids Elizabeth from marrying Darcy. Elizabeth, who didn't know the offer was still on the table, tells her, full of pride, that she will do no such thing. Word gets back to Darcy of the exchange, and he infers that perhaps her feelings have changed towards him. So this is a comment related specifically to the film, but I wanted to note an exchange that Elizabeth and Darcy have earlier on when she is visiting his estate. He asks to take her home and she declines, saying she likes to walk. He says, "I know." Later on, after the Lady Catherine incident, he comes to find her walking toward her in a wide open field. This moment is especially meaningful. He is validating and accepting her for who she is. While he used to find her improper, he now loves that she is a free spirit and he has also changed. This scene is evident of his own transformation. Number 8, the resolution. Darcy puts himself on the line again to tell Elizabeth that his feelings have not changed. He is hesitant, afraid of being rejected again, but he does so anyway, telling her, "One word from you will silence me forever." Elizabeth, having experienced her own transformation, has had her preconceptions of class turned upside down. She has seen a poor man do something despicable and a rich man perform a selfless act. Darcy has seen the love that Elizabeth has for her family, like he has for his own sister. He also respects her for not being willing to sell her values for a higher social rank. Elizabeth this time fully accepts his proposal and the two are finally together after the audience has gone on a roller coaster of romantic tension. I'll just leave this right here for a moment so we can soak it in. So these are the elements that I believe are the foundation and framework for what makes Pride and Prejudice such an amazing and timeless love story. I think writers today can take these lessons of misconceptions, misunderstandings, and human flaw to build amazing tension in their romances. These conflicts, combined with tactful chance meetings, selfless acts of devotion, and honest words straight from the heart, are what is going to make the audience fall in love with your characters and your story. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of a video, I did one recently about Carrie Bradshaw, doing a character analysis of her and kind of wrapping up some of my favorite Carrie Bradshaw moments from Sex and the City. So definitely check that video out. I'll link it down below in case you haven't seen it yet. So before you leave, definitely subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future videos. I'm definitely going to do more like this in the future. And until next time, bye.